guys want a little snack? Get a little snack for you. What do you think, buddy? What do you think, buddy? What's up, bud? What's up? You gonna sit for me? All right. Greetings on a rainy day in October. Rather cold and gray, but a good opportunity to think about where we're headed in the next few weeks and months when it comes to this pandemic. And while it's not clear yet that we're headed to some sort of crazy lockdown, I think we do have to remember that this notion of telelearning, of collaboration, of remote work, that's with us for the long haul. And I actually think it's a pretty good thing. Don't you, Leon? Yeah. There's a lot of benefits to being able to work from home. In my case, being able to hang out with this crazy bunch. But at the same time, I think we miss really the value and the importance of these types of remote collaboration and work. And that's really performative. Now, obviously, my bias as a recovering broadcaster, as someone who thinks about radio and television a lot, is that anytime you're on the camera, you're performing. And I think that's kind of lost. That entertainment element, that showbiz element is lost when people do their Zoom calls and they have their little online meetings, and that they're thinking that they're in the workplace. They're thinking that they're in a boring meeting or a stuffy meeting or a corporate meeting, when the real opportunity is to think about it as a show. Both because people's attention and time is short, and the worst thing we want is the kind of Zoom fatigue, where all of a sudden we get tired of these online meetings, we find them boring, when instead they're often our social lifeline. They're the main way in which we're communicating with each other and connecting with each other. So I actually think it's important to think about performance, to think about theater, narrative, drama, when planning a meeting, having a script, but also when engaging with someone online, to be a little exaggerated, a little embellished. I mean, one of the interesting aspects about stage theater is that you need to be exaggerative, you need to be embellished. And like these bozos here, let me turn the camera so that we get them. I mean, my guineas are particularly loud and dramatic. What's up, buddy? Yeah, sometimes it just takes a little bit of attention. But I like to joke that if this farm was a kind of reality TV show, the guineas would get their own spin-off. Because they're such characters. They make such noise. They're always up to something. But nonetheless, they're memorable. They're what people remember, not just because they look funny. Not just because they look funny, eh? But because they are such characters. And they do engage in such amazing drama. What do you think, Leon? Can we pivot? Yeah, they're too scared of you to really go there. But then look at Logan. Let's go see our friend Logan, shall we? Logan's here. Whenever Logan sees me, he's always like, "Hey man, where's the treats? Where's the treats, buddy?" Same with Federica. But you see, Logan tends to intimidate Federica, so she's got a little bit of, "Oh, let me in. I want some of those treats too." All right, guys. That's enough. That's enough. So I think it's important, moving forward, that when you participate in an online event, when you got these crazy trolls trying to sweat you. But think about how you're going to perform. Think about what character, what exaggeration, what story you're going to bring to an event. And if you're organizing an event, think of the script. Think of the direction. Think of the stagecraft. Think of the way in which you want the message and all the players to come together, and whether that provides an opportunity not just to create a valuable experience for participants, but to help develop the skills and comfort level of the actors themselves. Because one of the things you learn in drama is practice makes perfect. That the more practice, the better. The more rehearsal, the more iteration. And yet we show up to virtual meetings as if that's it. We're just starting. And yet, what about having a dress rehearsal? What about thinking ahead of time about flow, about script, about who you want to play characters and what roles, to actually have ringers in terms of the audience and performance? All of this is what makes a highly engaging online experience. And whether it's a virtual meeting or a virtual event, there's tons of potential when you get your friends to all come together and have the type of get-together that we may be nostalgic of in terms of pre-pandemic, but that we can make the most of now that we're in the situation we're in. Don't you think, Leon? Now, truth is, like any good event, as soon as the food runs out, well, forget about it. That's the end. That's when you gotta go home. And Leon here, his patience only runs so thin insofar as I got yum-yums to keep feeding him. But that's why we got the rest of these bozos hanging about, because they're also wondering about the food. And what's that there? What's that there, Prez? What's that? Oh, yeah, don't go after Leon's treats. No. Anyway, just some random thoughts for the end of the week when we think about how we use virtual events and how we engage with people. Because even though most of my comments today are really about work events or professional events, I think the same is true when it comes to social events and when it comes to fostering a bond or culture or improving team morale in a company setting. I think all of that really emphasizes not just the need for drama and narrative, but for play, for fun, to be able to enjoy yourself and make connections. You know, we take for granted how easy that was in the offline or face-to-face world. And it can also be done in the online world. You just got to put more effort into it. And you got to make sure that you invite the right people. The way that some of these bozos, quite frankly, make it a little chaotic for me to try to make a video. But I think they prove my point in terms of the chaos of online events, that they don't always have to be chaotic. And if they are chaotic, they should be fun. But the point is, if we're going to make it through this pandemic, if we're going to do our best to get through this with our sanity and happiness intact, we got to be having more fun with our online events. And we got to be making more of an effort to not try to recreate the old world events into online events, but come up with new opportunities, come up with new chances for fun, and always be sure to have a pocket full of treats. Don't you think so, Prez?